rather than doing the real work, which is building the foundation and helping hold you accountable to the habit changes and the behavior changes and the lifestyle changes, and doing a deep investigative matter of what you're actually missing at the cellular level, which is vitamins, minerals, and amino acids that create the hormones, and actually going on that journey with you, because that is hard. That requires time, that requires effort, and that requires intentionality. And that is why we built Own It. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Own It Show. I'm your host, Justin Rothling-Schofer, and I'm super excited about this conversation today because every single room I go into, this is the number one topic. Early onset perimenopause in women and testosterone issues in men. And it all comes back to hormones. And I think we've been lied to for a long time, and it's time, again, to hear the truth, because every health advocate you go to, every health clinic you go to, every holistic functional doc you go to is telling you, hey, here's the best peptide, here's the best hormone, here's how you should ultimately heal and solve the problem that you're going through from an energy and brain function standpoint. And anytime I see that, it causes my spider senses to go up. And I've seen this pattern, I've watched this pattern, and you look at what's happening in this industry, and it's just the 21st century version of a pharmaceutical. It's literally taken us back, and we've forgotten about the true science of what's actually going on, because you think that that shot or that patch will fix your life, but what if it's actually the Band-Aid on a crater because the foundation is actually rotting? And so welcome to the Own It Show. I'm your host, Justin Rothling-Schofer, and if it's your first time here, welcome. There's plenty of other podcasts that you can go back and listen to, over 300 episodes worth. And this is a place where we help educate, equip, and empower you to take ownership of your health. And I just get so excited about being here to be able to help us step into a new foundation of taking ownership and owning this body, understanding and revering it to a point in which we're willing to start taking different action. And so I'm super excited about what this looks like. And I only ever ask, if you find this helpful, if you find this something that blesses you, that you would subscribe to our podcast, you would leave a review so that we can ultimately reach more people. It really, truly does help. I know that it takes a couple seconds out of your day, but if this is a blessing to you, that's just really all I would ask, is that you would leave a review so that it can actually help increase the reach. But secondly, share it with somebody that you love. Share it with somebody that needs to hear this message. Share it with somebody that needs to hear something new. And it's going to be able to really help give others access to something that could really be helpful and healing to them. And so when we step in today, the promise is that I'm going to unmask the hormone trap, the hormone replacement trap, and reveal why vitamins, minerals, and amino acids are the real foundation to health, and give you 5 daily strategies for real hormone rebalancing. No matter who you are, man or woman, we're going to attack you both individually, because you are two completely different people made beautifully in the image of God in different ways, with different hormonal needs and different hormonal requirements. But these things are ultimately going to start to create some new changes. And so I want to picture something. Picture somebody walking into a clinic. It says health clinic, functional doc, holistic medicine. And as they walk in, they look at your blood work. They get your blood work done. They say, hey, we're going to start to help you. We're going to help start to heal you. I've had so many clients and patients like you before. The brain fog, the inability to lose weight, the early onset perimenopause, the weight gain that you've been having, all of these things that you've been suffering from. I have your solution. I get your blood work back. Oh, low testosterone. Oh, progesterone's out of balance. Estrogen is inadequate. Let's just take this shot, and this is what's going to be the thing that's going to help us. Let's get on this peptide, let's take this pill, let's take this cream, and this is what's going to help us. Only to realize, only to recognize that actually what we're getting is a life sentence and something that we have to use in order to create any type of healing thus going forward. Does that sound like something that's holistic, that's all-inclusive, that is functional in the way in which it sounds? Of course not. Because we're failing to go to the root cause of what's actually going on. And what we have to get back to is understand what hormones actually are. And so if we think of a pyramid or a triangle, hormones are at the top. They are end-of-the-road products. They are signaling molecules. They do not create anything, but they do something. They have a role. They direct the body. Giving more doesn't build the house. For example, if all of a sudden I was to sit here and I was to give you more workers because we were trying to build a house, and I gave you more and more and more and more workers, but I didn't have any wood, it wouldn't help you. But yet that's exactly what we're doing with our body. We're giving ourselves more hormones, which are directing molecules, that are signaling molecules, telling us what to do and ultimately how to do it, but it's not able to create anymore. And so The hormones are the tiny tip of that pyramid, whereas the vitamins, the minerals, and the amino acids are the massive base. And without the base, the tip collapse. Without the base, there is no wood to build the house. There was this study that came out, and what it actually looked at was it looked at amino acid and vitamin supplementation that was targeted based around cellular deficiencies. And what it showed was it showed a 94% improvement in menopausal fatigue and skin healing. And so when we think about the fundamental foundational nutrients at the cellular level needed to really create the processes that do the healing, that make the hormones do what they were meant to do, that's what we're missing. Because again, the hormone doctor comes back and says, hey, it's literally a script they have. Your labs show low testosterone. You need bioidentical injection cream. It's the only way. Hey, testosterone came back. It's low. You need this injection along with this peptide. It's going to be $1,500 a month for the rest of your life. Sign here. Hey, came back. I see you're struggling with peri-onset early menopause. This is going to be able to solve your problem. It's an injection you're going to take 3 times a week, and then a cream that you're going to use every single night. It'll get rid of those hot flashes and help you lose the weight. Sign here. It'll be $2,100 a month for the rest of your life, and make sure that I get your insurance on the way out. And it sounds compelling, but it's often incomplete because of what I said above. But if we follow the money, that's why it's become the new pharmaceutical, because it's a continuing stream of income. It's why all of these health clinics are opening up. Private health clinics, by the way, that what they do is they push peptides and hormones. And the way they get you in is by doing blood work, rather than doing the real work, which is building the foundation and helping hold you accountable to the habit changes and the behavior changes and the lifestyle changes, and doing a deep investigative matter of what you're actually missing at the cellular level, which is vitamins, minerals, and amino acids that create the hormones, and actually going on that journey with you, because that is hard. That requires time, that requires effort, and that requires intentionality. And that is why we built Own It, because that is why we are the world-class team to help take people to the next level, not just sell them something to solve the problem and soothe the issue. Because testosterone therapy isn't proven to improve vitality, energy, or cognition in otherwise healthy aging men, but yet we're still put on that when we see a low testosterone number. It's not because you can't create testosterone, it's because you don't have the foundational fundamental elements that do. But yet we don't think about that. We don't ask that question. We don't lean into that. So if you were missing 5 key ingredients to actually go and make that cake, I don't care if somebody just gave you cake at the end of the day, that cake would not taste good because it's still missing the 5 fundamental ingredients. You put the 5 fundamental ingredients again, and all of a sudden that cake gets made and it tastes actually the way it was supposed to. Same thing with the building the house analogy. Go and bring me more workers. Get me 10,000 workers. I don't care. If there's only one piece of wood and one nail, everyone else is going to waste. And it's why you often hear people trying to figure out their doses, and they go up, they go down, they go up, they go down, they go up, they go down, because you've got too much and then you've got too little because you still haven't dealt with the cause that you don't actually build it in the first place. And so not only that, but TRT can actually disrupt fertility and cause testicular shutdown in men. And so you actually stop using what God created. Because when you're given the top end of the pyramid, which is what you're ultimately trying to create anyways, it's going to start shutting processes down because, oh, bro, I guess I've got it. The signaling is here, but yet we're missing all of the processes that go on in between. And so this is why you start to see people who all of a sudden go and start stepping into having the hormonal therapy, and they have the increase in energy that they were ultimately looking for, but then all of a sudden now they've got kidney stones. Now all of a sudden they've got calcification in their knuckles. Now all of a sudden they've got back pain that won't go away. Now all of a sudden they've got skin irritations that won't leave. They've got skin blemishes that continue to pop up. They've got insomnia that starts to creep up. They've got anxiety that suddenly comes out of nowhere because you've disrupted the rhythm and the pattern inside, and you've got more people than work to be done because you're still missing the fundamental base issue. And then when you look at hormonal replacement therapy in menopause, it can alleviate the hot flashes. I saw somebody talking about this the other day. World-renowned, say Instagram-renowned influencer showed this woman of somebody having steam come off her head, and he was talking about all the different peptides and all the different hormonal therapies that you can do to actually solve that problem. And hormone therapy can alleviate hot flashes or osteoporosis, but, capital B-U-T with an exclamation mark, but comes with a risk, which is an increased chance of stroke, blood clots, and even breast cancer, depending on your age and timing of use. And so it's like, hey, you know what? I don't want these hot flashes anymore, and I'm gonna actually have you provide something new, and in the process, I'm actually setting myself up for a world of hurt in another direction, a world of hurt in another way that I'm not yet understanding why this is going on, because I haven't dealt with the core root issue to begin with. And that's the core issue, and that's the core problem, and that's what we have to start to understand is going on at the core. Because here's what we have to know, is that fundamental nutrients matter. So when we think about vitamins and minerals like iodine, selenium, magnesium, zinc, the B vitamins, and all of the other amino acids, there's about 120 critical minerals, there's about 17 critical vitamins, and about 21 critical amino acids that live inside of us that ultimately create everything in our body. They do everything. They're master substrates for cells to repair, hormone synthesis, and neurotransmitters. Whereas hormones, like I said, are just the signals. But with no substance, the nutrients and the substrate that build these tissues can't actually support that endocrine system, the hormonal system that sits up here. So we're falsifying what's actually going on. And what the evidence supports, what the data supports, what the studies support, what the random control trials support, is that supplements that are done on a cellular deficiency basis, a highly intentional and a highly integrated way, when we combine supplementation of cellular vitamins, minerals, and amino acids, it reduced fatigue and menopausal symptoms in premenopausal women by 94%. Now, who doesn't sign up for that? But nobody knows about it. Why? Because testing and supplementation isn't as lucrative as hormone therapy. Vitamins and testing is more time intensive on the doctor or the clinic or the group than simply giving you a prescription that you go and fill every single month. And this is why Own It does it differently. It's because we know the truth. And so I want to put this out there right now, because I wasn't going to do this, but if you go to Own It Testing, ownittesting.com, and you use the code HEALTH2025, I want you to do your cellular testing to understand what you're deficient in. And you're going to literally do it at our cost so that we can then help you see what's actually going on internally. Even if you're on hormone therapy right now, actually I say especially if you're on hormone therapy right now, or you're considering it, go and use this. Go to ownittesting.com, type in Health 2025, and you're going to literally get it at our cost. And I want to show you what you're actually missing at the cellular level. And then we're going to ultimately start to create something for you. Whether you do it or not doesn't matter, but at least get the testing done so you can actually start to see what you're missing. Because there was another study that was done that showed that nutrients are not just necessary, but essential for hormone synthesis. Hormone synthesis is the creation of testosterone, progesterone, estrogen, cholesterol, or cortisol, melatonin. The raw nutrients are essential for hormone synthesis, hormone creation, and it halts, not just slows down, halts, stops, ceases to exist without them. And so when we think about the Own It philosophy, it's foundation first. Make sure we are able to understand what's going on so we can step into that. And that's where everything changes. That's where everything moves in a powerful direction, because we can build the foundation back. When the foundation is built, it funnels everything up to the peak, and thus, just by magic, your body starts creating hormone or testosterone again, magically starts balancing estrogen and progesterone, magically your symptoms start to go away, magically you start to get more energy, magically weight starts to fall off, because your body's doing what it's supposed to do and it was designed to do. And so I want to give you that opportunity. Ownittesting.com, Health2025 is the code, and then get that done so we can step in. But as I promised, I want to give you the 5 root causes of hormonal disruptions and ultimately what their fixes can be alongside your testing, because this will help propel you forward in a powerful way. And so when we look at these areas, the first one is poor nutrition. Why poor nutrition? Because think about it. If we are eating poorly, highly processed foods, foods with a lack of nutrients, foods that have a bunch of different products that our body can't break down, we ultimately have micronutrient deficiency. So we're killing the base of our pyramid. It's not just because, eat a whole food diet and multivitamin rich foods with targeted amino acids because it's cool. No, it's because that is fundamentally and foundationally what we need. The second one is chronic stress. Why does chronic stress create issues? One, because it creates cortisol dysregulation, and we start creating more cortisol than's necessary, and because we're creating more cortisol, we're not able to create some of the other hormones that exist. And so how do we fix it? Well, let's get into some breath work. Let's get into a rhythm at night where we start to prepare our body, the 3-2-1 rule we talked about often. We talk about the breath work, the visualization that comes alongside of that, the rest routines, the Sabbath, abiding by that. Let's get back to that to re-regulate the body. Number 3 is we look at obesity and metabolic dysfunction. We think about this, for every 5 pounds of fat mass that we have, it slows hormonal production by 3%. So all of a sudden, if you're 20 pounds overweight, you're going to slow your hormone production by almost 15%. Now we start to add on all these other things that you're doing. It's no wonder we start to run into an issue. The 4th thing is chronic inflammation or liver overload. And so when we think about how to fix it, a clean food diet, 3 ingredients or less for every meal, and making sure that we're detoxifying our rhythms, making sure that we have sleep, hydration, red light exposure. These things can start to really help us. And then 5 is the thyroid and adrenal disruption, again, from stress and toxins that we take in. And the fix is getting back to the core component of what is going to help us, which is raw materials and customized supplementation. Because when we don't have the ability to clear the thyroid and clear the adrenals, we actually, again, are constantly using up these vitamins and minerals that are critical to having our body actually heal. And so I want you to come back to this visual. I want you to see the pyramid. The base is literally vitamins, minerals, and amino acids. The top of the pyramid is your hormones. Testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, melatonin. And right at the top is where we have to make sure that we're getting everything that we need. But it starts at the bottom. It starts at the foundation. And it doesn't start with an injection. It doesn't start with a cream. It doesn't start with a lotion. It doesn't start with some type of patch. But it starts at the bottom with the vitamins, minerals, and amino acids. Because we've been chasing the top of the pyramid because it looks shiny. But real framing and real freedom starts at the base. And so I want you to go to ownittesting.com, use the code HEALTH2025 so that you can get your cellular testing done at cost. And then if you have somebody who has been considering hormone therapy, who's on hormone therapy, who's having early onset perimenopause issues, who's looking at changing how they feel energetically, I want you to share this with them, because this is going to change the way that you feel, and it's going to empower you to step into a life that is different and a life that truly helps you operate like you did 20 years ago. Not because you gave yourself some injection, but rather because you gave your body what it was actually needing. As you guys go forward, I want you to know, again, do not swim in the direction of culture. Culture will always steer you wrong. You have to come back to what is true, and the truth is that your body was created to heal. It was designed to thrive, but you have to live differently and work the way that it was designed. And when we have reverence for it, when we see the power of what exists, that's when you can ultimately start to see a life that is energetic, that is mentally clear, and built the way that you were designed to operate. We know success is different, so own your different. I will see you next week.